So yeah, I'm Leonie Welling from Welling Architects, and so I was one of the participants of this What If Lab. And for us, what so we're an architecture office, and we try to focus a lot on circular building. And for us, it's not just about the materials that we use, but it's also a lot about rethinking the design brief, because I think our society very often thinks of very stereotypes. Like if you're designing a station, a lot of people have a station in mind. They have a building, a certain building in mind. They have the platforms in mind, the way they look, and that they take as a departure point for designing the train station. And often also the clients, that is what they asking for. They specify a brief saying we need this with this much square meters and out of these materials, for example. And this What If Lab allowed us to basically rethink the design brief. Like, what is a train station? This was the question that we asked ourselves. And basically, it's a place for where people can get on and off the train, where where encounters can happen, and maybe where you can lounge or maybe consume. And this actually defines a service that is provided, and it doesn't specify the physical appearance of it. So with this in mind, we basically said, like, what if we can facilitate a station in a natural landscape? So it's a service that is provided somewhere. So we don't build a train station, but we design a natural landscape in such a way that it can host a train station. And that was the base for our design, and we basically identified certain natural elements, such as landscape morphology, that can form either a barrier or actually can help you to overcome certain barriers. And certain types of vegetations, like we have soft vegetation, so that can be like grasses or fields of flowers that can be used for recreation. Then you have more like imperative vegetation. So these are shrubs that actually can form a barrier within the landscape. And you can have guiding vegetation. So these are more like lines of trees that mark the route, or singular trees that stand out and mark a certain spot. And by organizing these elements in a certain way, you can provide like an atmospheric environment that can be used for recreational purposes, but at the same time host and facilitate a train station. And for those elements like stairs or for waiting pavilions that cannot be made 100% out of natural elements, out of vegetation, we applied materials that can be found in basically harvested in the local environment that are renewable, or used elements that actually are old train track material, for example, for retaining walls or for staircases. And in that way, by using these kind of elements and defining the layout in such a way, in this case, in this image, you can see it very well, the diagonal crossing paths. From this way, but you have, like, from anywhere, if you park your bike, for example, in the front, there are multiple equally long routes that lead to the train track platform, that also then stimulates the user to use the whole length of the platform, so that everybody, like, can get in at a different door in the train, and not like what is currently very often the case in Holland. Everybody arrives at the platform at the same spot, and they all try to enter the train through one door. And in this way, basically, you stimulate the user to use the entire length of the train station. And at the same time, basically, the train station is non-existent anymore, because it's a park where a train station is facilitated.